Sappho's surviving fragments. Sappho was a female poet of ancient Greece. She lived between the 6th and 5th century before the Common Era. Although very little of her poems survive, it is known that she was so beloved, so acclaimed, that she earned the nickname 10th Muse. The reason only fragments of Sappho's poetry survive is because most was destroyed as a result of the Christian conquest of the Western world. Nonetheless, since the few fragments that do survive are noticeably so valuable or weighty, and since it is known that she was so recognized and celebrated in her time, I feel obliged to write about her, at the very least to increase my understanding of her verses and increase my ability to recall her. Although I do fear misinterpreting her. To a large extent, as so little survives, it might be impossible for me to analyze her thoroughly and correctly. From the onset, it is clear that the poet references and pays obeisance to divinity, to pagan divinity. In particular, throughout the whole, most references are to Pan, Hermes, and Aphrodite. The first is taken as the source of power or strength. The second as knowledge or art. The last, of course, as beauty and love. These three deities or powers are in a perfect balance. It is clear that she values all of them, not just love and beauty. Consider how in a fragment she has Hermes say, speaking of a newborn babe,
"Naught will avail her beauty, if she have not wit beside."
Likewise, in the same fragment, Pan says,
They have forgotten the verest power of life. I give to the little person, the glowing and craving soul.
The prior is curious as Sappho is often remembered as a great advocate of love and romance. In fact, I suspect it may easily be argued that in another time she would have been considered a romanticist. Nonetheless, this is not to say that she does not analyze or question even the value of love and romance itself. Consider how she says,
Why is thou given to men this thing called love, like the ache of a wound, to burn and throb and be quelled for an hour, and never wholly depart?
To these questions, Aphrodite herself answers,
The sun that is strong, the gods that are wise, the loving heart. Deeds add knowledge and beauty and joy. But before all else was desire.
As such, almost as a metaphysical claim, desire is taken as the ruling force of existence. Yes, desire being the source of change as well as pleasure and pain. Aside from such metaphysical claims, the poetess speaks of the more mundane, or personal, aspects of love. Various fragments clearly were the beginning of a description about a certain kind of lover. Although not much remains of whom the lovers might have been, all are preceded by juxtapositions of environmental, temporal, seasonal introductions. Similarly, there must have been many poems on parted or lost lovers. Consider the lines,
And joy anew and sorrow at thy voice, and the superb magnificence of love. O Athos, how I loved thee long ago, in that fair perished summer by the sea.
The mention of Athos, the mythical daughter of a mythical king of Athens, should allow me to digress or segue into the fact that Sappho also references many myths, most frequently those that were connected to the island of Lesbos. For example, in various occasions, she mentions Phaon. This is an original myth of Lesbos consisting of an old and ugly man that is turned beautiful by Aphrodite. It was told in certain now lost theater play that Sappho met this man, and after much love, ended up killing herself to free herself from the inordinate passion. Returning to the verses on human love, there are also several fragments that speak of the pain in broken or lost loves. However, there are a few that seem to describe the physical pleasure of love. Surely these were seen very unfavorably by the early Christian fundamentalists. As for the claim that the poetess might be considered as a precursor of the Romanticists, consider these lines, all from the same fragment.
Never yet, love, in earth's lifetime, at any cunningest minstrel, told the 1/7 of wisdom. Not in the lyre of Orpheus, not in the song of Musaeus, only two exquisite lovers, fashioned for beauty's fulfillment, ever appears the full measure of the world's wonder.
Yes, only by love, by romantic passion, not by reason, logic, or intellect, may a person truly appreciate, understand, if not perceive, existence. Another example.
The heart of man must seek and wonder, ask and question and discover knowledge. Yet above all goodly things is wisdom, and love greater than all understanding.
Some of the fragments speak of the involuntary nature of love. This emotion, perhaps more than any other, has ever been considered to make the absence of free will most palpable. Perhaps inspecting such a question was Sappho's intention, but as they are only fragments, we will never know. There is one fragment that would very strongly support the prior claim.
Nay, the gods themselves are fettered by one law which links together truth and nobleness and beauty, man and stars and sea, and they only shall find freedom who with courage rise and follow where love leads beyond all peril, wise beyond all words.
Perhaps this is a metaphysical, existential claim. However, its intention might also have been to speak of freedom and will. Considering all the prior, there was one fragment that most surprised me. In this one, Sappho seems to take a more measured, pessimistic, perhaps realistic, view of love. Consider the lines.
Yet, for all the roses, all the flutes and lovers, dead not she was lonely, as the sea whose cadence haunts the world forever.
Perhaps the poet wrote this in a frail moment, for the great majority of lines speak of how love is necessary and most valuable, perhaps even as the driving force of all matter. I will quote a brief fragment which is quite representative of the whole.
If death be good, why do the gods not die? If life be ill, why do the gods still live? If love be naught, why do the gods still love? If love be all, what should men do but love?
I think she speaks of a joyful love. Surely there are more examples I could provide. I did not mention how in certain fragments the poetess seems to take issue with certain individuals, as if she had a personal grudge or a fight. Perhaps these were lovers that she regrets. Perhaps it is impossible to know from the brevity of the fragments. Overall, all the fragments concern either love as the metaphysical fabric or cause of reality, or love as a binding force to mortals and even divinity, the adulations of the three gods, Pan, Hermes, and Aphrodite, and, lastly, the warnings, the maladies and celebrations in love, both in the physical pleasure and in the psychological delight. On this channel, you may find similar videos about many other writers. What is more, many of those videos are parts of a series. These usually end with aphorisms I crafted as I read the respective author. To encourage you to watch those other videos, consider these 2 aphorisms that I came up with from reading Sappho's surviving fragments.
Trusting the future is as foolish as relying on the past. If the future were certain, regret would be eternal.
If you enjoy or gain from my aphorisms, know that I have thousands. I will be writing books with short thematic essays composed out of aphorisms. These essays are profound and intriguing yet easy to read. For very cheap copies, look up Protagoras Pause in the Amazon website. I repeat, Protagoras Pause, that's my name.